On the main river, that's where the king salmon is the target. And they've got some guides as well there that are specifically there because they know that river like the back of their hand. And we were able to fish the main channel 3 of our days and had multiple big kings each day. The kings are going to average about 15 to 40 pounds. We caught probably a half a dozen fish in that 40-pound range. And the neat thing about it is, for you fly fishermen, about half the fish we were able to catch, myself and Steve McGrath, my cameraman and helper on this trip, about half those fish we caught were on fly rods with big streamer patterns, swinging them in the current. So, boy, a lot of different ways to fish the Goodnews River Lodge, and their guides are experts in each technique, believe me. You land basically on the Goodnews Bay at the mouth of the entrance into the Bering Sea. And so really a remote location. To take care of that as far as the travel goes, Goodnews River Lodge is actually contracted to have a private flight from Anchorage that takes you directly to Goodnews Bay. One thing about this camp at Goodnews River Lodge, Mike Gorton bought this lodge about 22 years ago, and when he was working for that lodge before that, the camp was located about 30 or 40 miles upriver. And so he knew that there were so many of the good places to fish downriver, closer to the bay itself. When he took over, he moved the camp down to the now location there, and has continued to expand that camp. And it's all inclusive once you get to the Goodnews River Lodge. And boy, what a phenomenal location. As a monster, just stripping that streamer pattern through that confluence there where that beaver dam comes in right there. When we pulled up to it, Jeff said that's a great spot, and Steve and I both hooked a nice fish in this hole. This is a big Arctic grayling. Look at that. That's a big Arctic grayling. What's that? That's got to be 20 inches.
He's 20. He's a solid 20.
Yeah.
And so old, you know, that fish is every bit of 20 years old.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, they live to be very old.
That's a great fish. Let's get a couple photos. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's the one thing that in our first trip here to the Goodnews River, you know, whatever you really want to key on, they can put you on that during the week. If you want to come here, if you're here in June or July, first part of July, you want to key on kings, there's plenty of kings in this river. If you want to, you know, you can take a little bit of time off and catch chums, sockeye. The pink run will be this year on an even year, and then of course the silver run here is epic. And so when you're here in the month of August especially, silver's wall to wall. But if you want to key on something and something different every day of the week, this is the place to be. Goodnews River Lodge, Southwest Alaska.
Hey, I wanted to show you what the Goodnews River Lodge looks like. It's a very comfortable place. It is, again, the only lodge on the entire river system. So you've got a unique place here on the river, but also off the river. So great little cabins or tents that they've made here. Very, very comfortable. They've got power in them. The one particular one that we're in here has got a bathroom and running water in the back. Well, let me show you around. So this is our cabin here for the week. Again, as I said, very comfortable. We've got power in here to be able to charge cameras and batteries, phones, whatever we need to, which the phones don't work up here, by the way, a bonus. But we've also got a heater in here. So the nights are cold up here. We're up here mid-July, but it doesn't matter. It's still pretty cold up here, so it's nice to be able to kick on that heater for a few minutes before you go to bed, warm it up some, and be able to sleep comfortably through the night. Also insulated on the inside of here helps keep it a little cooler. The bonus to me on that also is it helps it keep a little bit darker here, because this time of year it doesn't truly get dark until, I don't know, probably 1:30 in the morning. We fished till midnight our first night here, so it'll stay light quite a while, and it does make it a little tough to sleep. Then back here You've got a bathroom back here as well, also a shower built in here, so you've got all the accommodations really of home, minus the nuances as far as internet and cable television, which we don't want here, but it's got a nice setup here at Goodnews River Lodge. Here are a couple of the other cabins that they've got here, a couple of the newer cabins they've got here at Goodnews River Lodge. Again, nice accommodations, heaters in them as well, very comfortable beds, fresh linens, all of that kind of thing. We'll show you one of the coolest, I think, features of the camp here though. All of these pipes along here have got fresh air coming through them. There's a fan down here at the end of it that's blowing air, so as you can see here, others have already got their boots and waders hung up here. A great place every night. You can come in here, take your waders off, take your boots off, even your jacket if you've had a rainy day. Hang them on here, dry them out, you start fresh and ready to go the next morning. So kind of a cool feature, a nice little spot to sit down and relax for a minute as you take off the stuff and get ready for a beautiful dinner, which we've had every night while we've been here, and it certainly has exceeded expectations, every bit of the food that we've had here. So Alex was just walking us down the braid here that we're on, and of the middle fork of the Goodnews River, kind of casting around root balls and snags and holdups, and we've caught a few fish in here. All pretty good fish. This is a pretty good dolly that we've lucked into here now. Look at that. Long, fat. That's as girthy as a dolly I think as we've had all week. It's a good looking fish. So a lot of fun up here on the Goodnews River.
Wow.
Great fish.
Oh, yeah, you big fish.
Whoa. That's by far the biggest fish so far. That could be as big as has been caught this week, in fact. I think at that lodge. That's a great fish.
You look closer, you see the sea lice have tails on them. And so there's basically two sections. So this even extends further out to about right there. They're about equal length. So that first set of tails falls off typically 6 hours in the fresh water. That second set of tails on the sea lice falls off about 12, and then the sea lice themselves will fall off typically between 24 and 48 hours of full freshwater exposure.
I don't think I've never noticed those tails that long on this.
Yeah, when you see a fish that's got, you know, the long tails on them, and that fish is just absolutely screaming hot. I mean, that fish came in 6 hours ago. He was out in the salt water. And so this fish, you know, just because of how red he is, and that's typically what you see is because these bucks this time of the year, they're red. They're staging out in the bay, waiting for the hens to come in, and they're looking for a fish that is a like pair to them. So they're sitting there waiting for the big hens to come in, and then they follow them up because the hens are the ones that are digging the beds. And so these fish want to be paired with like fish. And so that's why you see, you know, redder fish like that. Typically this late in the run, if you catch a chrome fish, like a chrome king salmon, more than likely that's a hen. And that's because they're kind of coming in right out of the gate, still hot, still fresh. They got to book it upriver because they need even more energy to conserve instead of, you know, the bucks, because they have to dig the beds. And the beds, they're not small. They're big, deep, round beds that they just sit down on the bottom and just wag that tail back and forth, just kicking up as much dirt as they possibly can because, again, those eggs are sitting in the current. And so those fish, those eggs have to be down deep enough to where the water can well over them, but not shallow enough to where they can just absolutely get swept away by the current. Steelhead scoop. Cause you're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna get you down. You're the best around.
Now that's talent there. We caught a big one earlier, and it took a toll on our net. We stayed out here, and because the bite's been going pretty well, and Grady just got that one. in the two-handed version. That's called the cradle net for king salmon right there. Well, that's what you come to the Good News River for right there. Boy, what a great week we've had here. You know, if you're looking for a variety trip in this part of Alaska, we're way west, and this is basically the last river system westward wise, and so all 5 species of Pacific salmon, rainbow trout, giant Dolly Varden, Arctic grayling that proportions that I've never seen before. So, well, I'll tell you, Mike Gorton and his crew do an excellent job here. And if you're looking for a great outdoor adventure in Alaska, don't hesitate to give one of our newest Platinum approved outfitters, the Good News River Lodge, a call. And as always, thank you for joining us on this edition of Sportsman's News Television.